good-looking group.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good-looking group.
Welcome.
So, Ms. Harris, starting today, you're mic'd up and ready to go?
I believe I am.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I think. Are you? Can you hear okay?
Yes.
All right. So, without further ado, let's get our Small Business Week kicked off today. I'm so proud that we're doing it here in South Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, we give you Ms. Althea Harris.
Thank you. Thank you, Cassius. I'm very pleased to be here at Office Depot, obviously a company that started back in the 1980s, and they dreamed big, though they started small. And this is the culmination of what happens when you mix dreaming big, starting small, and pushing forward on that vision. So today I'm going to be joined by Peter Salas, if you'd come on up, from JP Morgan Chase. He is the Vice President and Regional Manager for Business Banking here in South Florida. And he's going to give us an insider view into what big banks are thinking about these days. Also, we have Bob Naples from the West Palm Beach SCORE chapter. SCORE is they are the counselors to America's small business. They are resource partners of the U.S. Small Business Administration. They give high-quality counseling and training to business owners. And he is also the Assistant District Director for the South Florida region. And that encompasses several SCORE chapters. Thank you for coming. We also have Pamela Stewart from Paragon, Florida. They are an intermediary lender here in South Florida. They are starting perhaps small. They've got a big dream, and they're going to take over Florida in terms of financing small businesses. Welcome, Pam. And last, but certainly not least, we have Tula Amana. She is the owner of the Flashback Diner, and she's going to share with us how she was able to start small, dreaming big, and now the owner of 4 Flashback Diners. Welcome. 3 and 1. She corrected me. Now, Peter, everyone knows that banks are in the business of making loans. But of course, when we were going through the recession, it didn't feel that way. And there are some who still think that the banks are not lending, though we heard from Cassius that, at least in this region, we see financing of small businesses making a comeback. In our district alone, we did about $1 billion last year in SBA-backed loans. That represents the kind of volume in terms of dollars that we saw before the recession. Can you give us a little insight into what it is big banks are thinking about that will help small businesses begin to access capital if that's something they need?
Well, at Chase, we're very excited. Just last year alone, we lent $19 billion, a lot of that significant amount in SBA. We earned for 3 years running the #1 designation in the country for minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses. We're a leader in SBA. We're #1 in Florida, where I'm from. I'm based out of Miami, so I'm really proud of that. So we do a lot to help bridge the gap between small businesses, access to capital, traditional financing. So when they're at the business stage where they meet the big bank criteria, and which has expanded, as the economy improves, we're there to help them. We support SBA Express loans, 7A loans, 504 loans, and all those different solutions that the SBA provides, guarantees, provides us a way to provide access to capital to the businesses. And then we joined the organizations like Paragon and other CDFIs, community development financial institutions, that are able to provide access to capital to the micro entrepreneurs, those small businesses that are home-based or need a very small loan. And we partner with those and help bring together the community. Really, it takes a village to make it happen.
That's right. Very good. That reminds me, I should tell you that with SBA, we offer solutions for small businesses along a spectrum of financing. Businesses can get microloans through our microlenders as little as $500, and the maximum loan guarantee portions can do deals up to $12 million in the 504 program, which is our real estate acquisition program. But on the regular 7A, that would be about $5 million. So we operate along a spectrum that small businesses can access. Where do you think Chase fits into that spectrum?
We fit in all of it. We support all of those, and if I may, the 7A, if you're a manufacturer, can go to 5.5 million.
Excellent.
So we're very proactive with those products. We love to provide sales comparison tools to business owners and tell them, here's what it'll look if we do this type of loan, here's what we look at if we do this type of loan with the SBA or conventional, and really try to do the best thing for the client's needs. So we support the SBA Express, the 7A, the 504, and it's really, what does the client need? We try to be very customer-centric and look at what it is that they need and try to position the appropriate products for them.
Excellent. Thank you. Pam,
Yeah.
tell us about Paragon, Florida.
Paragon is an ILP lender, and what that means is that the Small Business Administration actually provided us with capital to lend to those businesses that might not qualify for the programs like Chase. We actually do loans between $10,000 and $200,000 for startup and emerging businesses. And the beauty with organizations such as ours is that we facilitate access to capital to groups that may not have been in business for 3 years, or maybe they have some credit issues, but our underwriting is flexible enough that we can get comfortable with loans, and we help that market that is suffering from not being able to access the capital. And that's what we primarily do as a lender. The other thing that we do as a CDFI is we also offer technical assistance to our small businesses. Those that might need assistance with, putting together their financial information, or that might need a business plan, we'll refer them to our partners like SCORE and the Small Business Development Center. We actually do some hand-holding just to help them get through that process. And the last thing I'll say is that one of the things that Paragon does is we actually have what we call a transition initiative, where we try to, after a client has been with us for a number of years, our goal is actually to transition them away from our organization and into traditional lenders so that they can actually establish a banking relationship with them.
And why do you think that's important, that you would actually turn away, not turn away, but move a small business owner to the next level?
Well, the whole goal at the end of the day is for businesses to become bankable. And it's about, being financially strong. So for me, it's a great way and a great testimony to how to make things work and when you really are able to make a difference. So that's why it's important to us, aside from the fact that when we do transition them, we get the capital back and we can relend it. So that's another good part about it.
So you have a practical reason for wanting to move them along.
Absolutely.
Very good. Now, can you tell us, are there any pitfalls to being successful with Paragon? Are there some things that you're seeing maybe in applications by applicants that put them really put them out of the running for lending from Paragon?
The main thing that I will say is there are two things. The business planning aspect of things. One of the requirements for our program is that the businesses do have a business plan so that we can understand how they're going to be using the proceeds and show that they have the capacity to pay us back. The other part about that, it is financially having their house in order. I can't stress how important that is and how what a difference it makes to us in terms of just trying to make an assessment of your business acumen if you have your ducks in a row. And for those clients who are not, there are classes, there are small business counselors and the like to help you do that. But those are two main things that really need to be together when you come in to get a loan from Paragon or any lender for that matter.
Well, I see you nodding your head, Peter. Tell us, what kind of things are you seeing from business owners who are not successful with Chase?
Yeah, I think you touched on a lot of them. Being prepared, do your homework, have a business plan, have a focus and a vision of what the business is going to do, and then obviously leverage with SCORE and other types of organizations that can provide that technical assistance and access to capital in that small spectrum, the $500 to $50,000, to start realizing your dreams. We've had success stories with CDFIs. We work with several, and where they've lent, $1,000, $5,000 loans, and now there's customers that are coming back to us. They're becoming bankable. That's the mission of the CDFI, where now we're doing loans $50,000, $100,000 for them, and creating jobs. So, 99% of the businesses employ 500 employees or less. So that's why it's very important to get these small businesses that have 1 to 20, 50, 100 employees access to more capital to be able to expand and create more jobs.
That's right. That is a priority of the federal government, and that's one of the things we take pride in at SBA, that with each successful entrepreneur, they at least create one job. And if we can, through our programs and services, help them grow and expand, then we are doing our part to help the economy grow. Now, Bob, you've heard Pam and Peter refer to you as a very valuable resource to small businesses. Could you tell this audience what SCORE does to help entrepreneurs start and grow and succeed?
Well, for the past year, I believe we had 18,000 people come through our doors in South Florida. And we get the dreamers and we get the good dreamers. And it's our job to segregate the dreamers from the good dreamers, and then figure out how we're going to train that good dreamer to put a package together that's going to be convincing to the banks and the funders as they go forward. So it's the start of a long trip. We spend a lot of time with them, not only putting a business plan together, but making sure that they have the talents to run that business. And if they don't, then we have to figure out how we're going to help them get the talents to run that business. So we've had a great amount of success with those people who came up with a good product or a good service business, and spend a lot of time training them. And we're very proud of what we've done with them so far.
So when you say that you take a lot of time with the business owner or the would-be entrepreneur, it suggests that you're looking for a long-term relationship with your clients.
Correct.
That's right? Okay.
Absolutely.
And so what, do you have some statistics on how long the average client stays with you?
Well, we have some clients that are with us for a number of years. They keep coming back. Those that have started with us, developed a business, created a good business, and then they came back and said, now we're ready to go to the next step. So we get involved with them and train them on what they need for the next step, and make sure that their financials in the business plan tell exactly what they're going to do, and convincing enough to the lenders that it's going to happen. So we're really the trainers. We're the business school for the dreamers.
Excellent.
We have about, in South Florida, I think there are about 300 mentors. And these people keep coming back. Every once in a while I look at the records, and I see one gal's been coming to us. I think she was with us. She came to us 42 times. And she's been very successful in the dog business. And so we cater to the good dreamers, and we spend a lot of time with them, and we have enough talent in the mentors themselves that we can pass them from one expertise to another, so that if the mentor who's working with them needs some help, then he just goes and he looks to the other profiles to see where he can get his best help, whether it's in marketing, whether it's in finance, or whether it's in general operations, or how to put a business plan together, making sure it is solid and it's just full of meat and potatoes, that is so convincing to the lender that, hey, we got to go with this guy or gal.
Excellent. And Peter and Pam, either one of you, have you found that the clients who have gone to SCORE have been successful with your organizations?
Want to start?
Well, yes, we've had a great success with SCORE, with Paragon. They're one of our more active partners. I think maybe 4 months ago, we did a loan. We closed on a loan for a contemporary furniture store that was brought to us by SCORE. And one of the conditions of closing was that this young lady was going to have to receive technical assistance during the term of the loan, and SCORE agreed to provide that to her. So that's how we work together to make it happen.
And so ours is always an ongoing situation. Whether they're in business for a year or 2 years or 3 years, they always have the right to come back to SCORE and use the talents that we have within each of the chapters to help them in their continued success.
And what is the cost to the business owner to work with SCORE?
If they come to SCORE, the cost is zero.
Excellent. Excellent. So they are able to access high-quality mentorship,
Yes.
and it doesn't cost them any money out of their pockets,
No money.
just the time.
And they can email us on a daily basis if they want. They can ask us to attend some of their management meetings, and it's all at no cost.
So it's like having your very own personal business consultant, or almost like someone on staff, perhaps.
Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. Now, Tula, I'm very excited about your story, and I want to give you an opportunity to tell us how you got into business, why you got into business, and just tell us about the Flashback Diner.
I'm actually an immigrant. I came here when I was 18 to go to college, and it was actually very easy because I was able to get my own business from 50,000 borrowed capital from friends and family. And then through SBA 504 in 1997, some amazing bankers, some of whom are out there today, they were able to bring all the groups together to make the loans that I needed happen. So I put together the real estate, we renovated the building, staffed it, and started operating it. I thought, gee, this is easy, anyone can do it. The only difficulty I had in the beginning was to put together the paperwork. But if you can't do paperwork, you shouldn't be in business. Frankly, it was easy. And then I did another one, and it always involved taking an older building, renovating it, and I started with 25 people. Today we have 250 and growing. We are thinking of going into other areas that SBA 504 has some spectacular programs, such as the LEED certified buildings. One of our restaurants, the Deerfield Beach Cafe at the Deerfield Beach Pier, is a LEED certified building, so we process our garbage, we make compost, and we thought that was easy too. So that's our next project. We're looking for the next building for that. And what's so unique is that per guarantor, it used to be that SBA had a limit of $5 million as a 40% of the $12 million you spoke about. But now when it comes to a LEED certified building, the sky's the limit, and it goes per project. So it's amazing programs. I have used the program 4 times for 504. One was a refinance of that building. And also I've used the SBA Express line in the past. Amazing programs. But of course it takes a team. And when I say a team, we work with SBDC to facilitate the conversation between the SBA and the bank. And also at the back end, after profits started being generated and all we wanted to do was expand and put more people to work, then came beautiful tax programs like accelerated depreciation, Section 179, that made it possible actually and gave us an incentive to move up.
Now, you're very knowledgeable. Now, my question is, how did you get that way? Did you use our small business development? When you said you worked with a small business development center, is it that they kept an eye out for things that you could benefit from, or you knew of things and you asked them for help, or a combination?
That's an excellent question, because that's what we really, I think, we need to improve a little bit more. Don't forget the year, 1997 was the first financing. At that time, in order to get the information, you had to go to meetings to try to, as cities were sponsoring meetings, come over, hear about it. Today is very different. We didn't even have internet then, just to remind you, it wasn't really.
Right.
So it was very difficult to get the information. Today, it's available at our fingertips, and basically SCORE, I'm also a member of the directors of the Greater Florida Alliance, and we always refer people to SCORE in order to bring them to the next level. But getting the information is easy. I find that most small business people, they think it's too good to be true, but it really is not. It's excellent, and it's unique. You're not going to find it this easy in any country in the world. It's amazing, and it is very, very good and very true.
So you invested evidently in your relationship with the Small Business Development Center, with SCORE, with your team of bankers, and that is part of how you've been successful. Because it seems to me that we hear often, and I say often, that small businesses really need to have a team to help them succeed, right? We always say you should have your lawyer, your accountant, your banker. Yes. And I would go even further and say that you should definitely have SBA on your team to help you really grow your business. And so it sounds to me like you really invested in those relationships why you were able to put together a successful business in the first place when you said you started with friends and family, which should not be overlooked as a financing source. But then you really kept your team intact to open each successive business.
In the beginning, friends and family are the only ones that trust you. And even if they lose it, they want you to succeed. But the element of trust comes from a very, very long time where your banker knows that you're going to pay everything on time, that you're going to communicate when you have a problem. Before it gets too bad, reach out to SCORE, while SCORE can help you before the business gets out of control in a negative way. So keep it under control and be proactive, basically. The element of trust is huge with all the parties you're dealing with.
Right.
And there's other sources, of course, of financing that out there. I used CRA, Community Development Agency grants, as we did in the town of Davie. They were amazing there, too. And when you put it all together, I'm actually showing people in certain occasions that 10% that you would need for an SBA 504 loan, you can cover even the gap with a grant from the city, like I did with the town of Davie, for example. So therefore, literally, you can do it with zero money out of your pocket.
Tell us a little bit about that CRA grant, and what were they hoping you would give in exchange for the grant, right? Because it's not just free money, right? I mean, they must have some expectation of you.
Yes, they want to make the neighborhood better. There's facade renovation loans. I use that in Hallandale excessively. Very, very good programs there. And they want you to make the neighborhood better and to put people to work. It's very simple. It's what everybody wants, every one of us. So it was very easy. They have good programs. The mayors helped us. The building inspectors helped us. And
so
people
it sounds
want to
like
do the right thing.
And when did this happen? For example, the CRA grant?
CRA grant was in 2009 from the town of Davie.
Okay.
I also got prior to that from the city of Hallandale a couple of grants. They gave 85% loan at 4%, and the other 15% was a grant.
Wow.
You're forgiven after a while. That money goes away, and you only have to pay back the 85%. Every city has a different program.
Right.
Some cities also, they give $2,000 per employee that you put to work. And we're really taking some people who are very hard to employ. Let's not forget that we're in a service industry. So we we give them some very, very good jobs, and we take them off the streets,
So
so to
you're,
speak.
you're almost the poster child for the person who really takes on that teamwork approach. I mean, you've used local government, federal government, corporate money, in all kinds of money to really grow your business. Now, how did you do, where were you when you thought to yourself, okay, there has to be a way for me to get this done? Did you have that question within yourself? Did someone come to you and say, hey, let me help you strategize on how to put this whole thing together?
I went to a lot of meetings sponsored by SCORE, by city halls, by CRA. Different cities have a lot of different programs. So I attended every one I could, and I read a lot, and I asked a lot of questions. I put myself out there. It's very simple. When you put yourself out there, people are willing to help and give you the answers. You just have to ask.
Well, you
have
bring
to
up
go.
a very good point, Bob, and I thought maybe you could expound on that a little. Do you find that many business owners are, as the saying goes, are working in their businesses instead of on their businesses, meaning that they're so busy being an employee, they're not acting as the visionary and the person who's getting out there to see what's happening in their industry or in the marketplace to really access and take advantage?
We found a lot of that. They are busy. They're working from 8 in the morning till 9 at night. And we were having difficulty trying to get them to come into our office. So we changed it, turned it around, went to them. And so we spent some time in their business, and that helped out tremendously. And it took a while for them to gain respect for the people that were sent there, but it became a big plus for them in the long run. And so what we're trying to do now is to make the rest of the community in the small business aware of the support they can get from SCORE, so that we can spend more time in helping people in business, as well as those that we help try to start business.
So you allow people to come to you, you allow,
you
also go to them.
We make house calls.
You make house calls, that's wonderful. And what about e-counseling, online counseling? Does SCORE engage in that?
We do a lot of email counseling, and there are about 75% of the mentors in each chapter that do email counseling sign on to it, and that's a pretty busy process. Some of our mentors only do email counseling, and so they're filled up at their desk all day long if they want to.
Wow.
But that part of it is a little more difficult because it's impersonal. Whereas if you're actually sitting down with the people and talking to them and looking at successes they've had and the failures that they've had, it all goes back to the business plan. And that's why we...
You mean people really read business plans?
Yeah.
I
Well,
thought
what we try to
there's an
do is
article
we-
on the web that says it's the myth of the business plan, and they
Well-
call for the death of the business plan. Why is that so critical?
Some people put together a plan, and included in that plan is the financial cash flow and projections. And so we go to them and say, okay, when's the last time you looked at that plan? And they said that, oh, we haven't looked at it in a while. And from my experience in business, you put a plan together, you look at it every month. How well did you do against that plan?
Right.
And you train your people to do that, and in most cases it works.
Yeah, the sales projections are very important in the business plan. So when we talk business plan, you want to talk about vision, and you want to talk about where you want to go and all of that, but really it comes down to forecasting and making sure you have reasonable projections and that kind of thing, because that's very important to know where the cash flow is going to come. But I wanted to touch on the relationship, because that's what I hear from the panel a lot is having relationships. And at Chase, our business relationship managers, they're called business relationship managers, and it's because they do go out and make house calls. That's part of their focus, and really have an advisory role where they're looking at the operation and seeing ways we can help them improve efficiencies, accelerate cash flow, just really become a more wheeled machine in all aspects, not just giving them a loan.
Well, this is very interesting to hear you say, because I think in general, and to capitalize on what you said, Tula, I think a lot of business owners may be afraid to talk to their banker and bring them into the process to see the business and how things how they're managing their business, and afraid that you might find out something that may cause you to want to accelerate their loan or something like that. But I hear you saying something different.
I think that's changing. Maybe that's the way it was in the past. Maybe it was more an adversarial role, in the past. But at Chase and other banks, I'm here because I work at Chase. But I think the financial industry has changed a lot, where we're more partners, we're more providing advice, service. And with that, obviously, solutions and recommendations and other things happen naturally. But we really got to be customer-centric and help the business any way we can. That'll really hit on trust that Tula was talking about. If we can do that and go in there and help them with whatever it is that they need, and sometimes it's saying go to Paragon, right? So I don't win, if I go to Paragon, I do win. We win down the road, right? And the community wins, and then we'll win, because the more people we put back in the labor force, that's really becoming a productive member of society, the better it is for everyone.
Right. Well, in our last 10 minutes, I would like each of you to give our audience maybe your best advice, a tip, even a success story maybe that demonstrates that tip, if you have one, to really help them understand how to find funding for their business. What is it going to take from their end to be successful with your organization, if you're a lender, or maybe for you, Bob, how you can really help them access these two organizations or any of the other ones that are out there, because there are lots of other lenders in the marketplace. Chase, you happen to be number one, and I think you were number one last year and the year before in this market. But if you have any tips or advice for our audience, why don't we start with you, Pam?
Okay, thanks.
Think fast.
I guess my biggest tip is that you have to stay engaged and know what you don't know. I know that sounds kind of weird, but information is power and knowledge is power. So the more you do your research and the more you look at options that are available to you, the better you're going to do. One of the things that Tula said that was really interesting is about deal structuring. And so for businesses that come to Paragon, we're always looking for the best alternative for that business. And if someone comes in and they need a line of credit, we're not going to do a loan with that business. We're going to see if we can find a banking partner that's willing to do the line of credit. And if the CRA wants to work with us to do a bridge loan or something like that to facilitate a grant, we'll do that as well. But it really involves you getting the information that you need before you jump out there, before you sign the lease, before you go out there and make a big purchase or invest in inventory and those sorts of things. Just make sure that you've done the business planning and that you know all the resources that are available to you. And relationship banking, I think, is the way that we're going in the future, so that it's not just about a loan. It's about lease options. It's about credit card services. It's about all those things that businesses need. And know what you don't know. I guess that would be my advice.
Excellent. Tula?
Just because, the biggest tip, just because you have a hobby and you like to cook and you can flip an egg, it doesn't mean you can own a restaurant. So that is very, very important to tell all restaurateurs that are going out there saying, I know how to cook, I can do this. It's primarily a business, and you have to have, absolute must, an ongoing business plan, and one that takes also into consideration your competition, a very realistic one. Do it in a very pessimistic way, and build in 20% contingencies for the items that you will do wrong and something will happen that will throw you off your initial budget. So be pessimistic, think about the business, don't think about how you would like to go every day and do your hobby. And do a lot of self-criticism, be proactive. When you see you're not doing good, don't wait till the end. Do something about it sooner. There's lots of choices. Stick to your business plan. If not, find ways to revise it. I need to mention also the SBA website, valuable. Things are changing constantly in this country. People think of new ways to improve things. Therefore, there's some programs that become available that are phenomenal, and it's on the SBA website. Also, that contains sample structures of business plans, and it's a great tool to just go on that website and tear it apart before you start. Gives you so much insight.
Excellent. Thank you for that plug. Bob?
Well, I guess you got to get them to believe in what they wrote in the business plan. They got to memorize it. They have to follow it. And if they do, they'll do fine. Get a little plug in. We in West Palm Beach have a little seminar we put together that's offered to anybody for a small price. It's called Simple Steps, How to Start a Business. And it's just jam-packed with a lot of good information that will prep people into not moving themselves into big mistakes. And I think that's really important.
Excellent. Peter?
Be passionate and be realistic. And you got to have both. Because a lot of people are passionate about things and they're dreamers, right? And, you know, they're not realistic with their expectations. So if you're passionate and you're realistic and you prepare and do your homework,
overestimate sales and underestimate expense, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, then you can make it happen. I mean, Tula has said it better than anyone can. I mean, she's a great example of persistence and perseverance, and you know, just it's out there. You just got to have both passion and be realistic.
Passion and realism, information. We've got to be engaged. We've got to be prepared. Got to have a plan. That's your advice to our audience. And Tula, thank you so much for plugging the SBA website. It is jam-packed with information. I invite you to check out our website. We have some folks here in this room, my colleagues from Washington, who have done a phenomenal job of getting our website populated with information, blogs, videos. Of course, you are always able to access us, the staff, at the local level. Our office is in Miami, but we have staff who service the 24 counties south of Orlando, and of course, we have staff nationwide. But there are some wonderful tools available on our website. As you mentioned, Tula, a business plan builder. If you haven't bothered to take all that information out of your head and put it on paper where the rest of us can see it, you can use our website to build that business plan. We have a tool that allows you to assess your competition. And again, you can tap into the expertise of the resource partners at SBA. SCORE is just one of them. Tula mentioned the Small Business Development Center. Cassius introduced Victoria from the Women's Business Center right here in Delray. I invite you to access us. We are the Small Business Administration. We're smart, we're bold, but we're accessible. So please do access us, and we thank you all very much for being here today. Thank you to our panel for bringing that great insight. We're done. Yep. I think we can go that way. Thanks so much. You did a great job. Thank you, Bob. Excellent. Thank you, Pam. Y'all gonna follow me? Thank you.